back to Ground Pass.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Good to have you back.
And we'll publish this on the Doubles Only podcast as well. Welcome to the Doubles Only podcast.
Awesome. It's a combo. What are those things called? Like a crossover.
Yeah,
it's a crossover.
Cross-promotional episode.
Yes. If it's loud, everybody, we're at the U.S. Open.
Outside of Grandstand.
Yeah.
Between Grandstand and Court 4, and the match on Grandstand just ended. Demi Schurz and Louisa Stefani took out Bethany Maddox-Sands and Sophia Kinnan.
A good team.
Straight sets.
Today's been a straight sets day.
Yeah, I've not seen a third set today,
Yeah.
other than the mixed.
Yeah, the mixed, we just, I just watched Bopana play against Ebden, actually.
Mm-hmm. Doubles partners
against each other, and that went to a tiebreak.
Yeah.
So, yes, welcome to the U.S. Open. I'm here with you to talk doubles because as someone who, we support ground passers. Like, we love ground passers. We always support getting a ground pass and coming to a tournament. And this is the second week of the U.S. Open. And if you get a ground pass, you're mostly watching doubles if you come over.
That's right. Especially after the first 4 to 6 days. Today it's only doubles, right? All the singles. I think the past 3 days have been, all the singles is on Louis Armstrong, where you can get in with a grounds pass, but you're sitting up top, and then Ash, and you can't even get into Ash unless you have an Ash ticket.
Yeah.
This year's U.S. Open has been kind of weird because the grounds passes a lot of days have been more expensive than the Ash tickets and the reserve seating because it's in such high demand, which is good for tennis and good for doubles. But it's been it's been a really fun week. There's a lot of kind of surprising partnerships, like we were just talking about before we recorded, and then some teams that are back from injury, teams that are making deep runs late in the year to make a push for the year-end final. So there's a lot of really good storylines going on here on, what is today? Labor Day, Monday.
Labor Day Monday.
Labor Day Monday of the U.S. Open.
Yes, we're getting to the tail end of the tournament. Now, before we jump right into it, because people listening to this episode, which will, by the way, come out later tonight, so you can still come to the U.S. Open and enjoy some doubles. If they've been watching doubles on TV, on tour, how are the matches a little different at a Grand Slam than from regular doubles matches on tour?
Okay. So there's a few rule differences. So you play with ad at Grand Slams. So the non-Grand Slam tournaments, Indian Wells, Miami, all the 1000s, and even all the tournaments below that, it's no ad. And then instead of a full third set, they play a 10-point tiebreaker. So the majors, it is with ad and a full third set. So what you find is typically the better teams will kind of rise to the top more because there's a little bit less room, or a little more room for error, a little bit less kind of chance, I guess. So with that no ad format, a lot of the times you can get a lucky net cord or just have 2 bad points in a row, and all of a sudden there's the break. And then with the 10-point tiebreakers, you can just get hot for a minute or two and win that. Whereas a full third, it's similar to what you see in singles on the men's side, right? You can beat Djokovic in 2 out of 3 over the last 10 years, but can you beat him in 3 out of 5? That's a lot tougher. So it's like a similar thing, except kind of even a little bit more condensed. The other thing that's nice about the majors is it's easier to watch doubles. So the U.S. Open is all on ESPN3 or ESPN Plus, depending on the match. What I recommend people do usually for the majors is sign up for ESPN Plus. I think it's $8 a month, and then just cancel a month later, and you get so much good doubles action for the full 2 weeks. One match is worth $8 to watch on TV. So it's a really easy way to watch, and you can stream it on your computer. You can download the ESPN app, watch it on your phone, on your Amazon Fire Stick or Google Play or whatever. So those are a couple of the big differences at the Grand Slams. I guess the last one is on the men's side, you don't see quite as many singles players playing because they're playing best of 5 in singles.
Right.
So at Miami and Indian Wells, Wells, you'll have like Dimitrov will play doubles, but you don't see that here because he's playing best of 5 in the singles, which is really tough.
So they're trying to save their bodies a little bit going into it. Okay.
100%.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot to kind of expect at a Grand Slam. You said a little bit about at this tournament, there's some interesting pairings this year. Mm-hmm. What has caught your eye in terms of the doubles field? Like, what should people coming to the grounds look out for?
So if you're going to come the rest of the week, we should pull up the draws here. Today, something that was certainly an upset is the 3-time defending champs lost, Rajiv Ram and Joe Salisbury. So they lost to an All-American team, Jackson Withrow and Nate Lammons, who have had a good couple of seasons. They're very good servers, not as strong on the return side. So they're in most matches. They'll play a lot of those matches that are 7-6, 6-7, 7-6 because they're such good servers.
Yeah.
So that was a surprising result today.
Which actually happened on Grandstand, which is behind us. And while that was going on, I was actually on court 5, which is in our background right here, our favorite court. I think we share
yes, it is.
The love of court 5, where Wimbledon champs lost. Pliavara and Patton lost pretty much just before.
Yeah.
Seems like a tournament of upsets, really. A little bit.
Yeah, I think if you look at, I'm pulling up the draw here right now. So if you look at who's left, there's a few teams. Let's go to the men's draw, men's doubles. Okay. So there's some teams that you absolutely would have expected to make the third round, the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
One of those is the top seeds, Marcel Granollers and Horatio Zeballos. They've been the best team in the world since April, probably. They won Rome. I think maybe they made it to the semis of Madrid and pulled out with an injury. Made the semis of Wimbledon, made the semis of Roland Garros. I could have one or two that's wrong, but regardless, they've been such a strong team. The other team that's been the best since then is Arevalo and Pavic. They won Roland Garros.
Yeah.
They made they had a deep run in Toronto. They have just been really consistent since they found their form. They were a new partnership this year, so I think maybe those first 2 or 3 months, it took a minute for them to kind of gel and find that chemistry. So they're into the quarterfinals. Kravitz and Poots, the all-German team, is into the quarterfinals, also a seeded team. Not surprising to see them there. The wild cards, Boyer and Nava, they're about to start on 17. They're surprising to be in the third round, right? There's a few other teams that are unseeded, but overall, I mean, not a whole lot of shocks on the men's side. And I feel like I talk about this with Hamlin a lot, who does writing for us. The men's draws, when they come out for all these tournaments, they always just seem so brutal. Like, there's so many good teams on the men's side, whereas I feel like on the women's side, if I look at the draw, I can always find one or two of the top teams that I just know they're going to win their first 2 rounds, you know? But on the men's side, that really rarely happens.
Okay.
So it seems to be a lot more competitive these days.
Okay, so a lot of things for people to see. And then we have what, so far for me at least, has been the most fun part of the doubles tournament at the US Open has been the mixed doubles, because there's some really, really interesting pairings in the mixed doubles. Yeah,
it's a ton of fun. It's such a cool event because, like, there's no other sport where you have the guys and the girls playing together on the same field or court or in the same arena. And it's only in the majors, in the Olympics, of course. But I wish we would do it more, and I think we'll start to see that over the next several years. They tried it at Indian Wells earlier this year, but people love it. I mean, the crowds just. I mean, they really, really love it. They're so loud. The points are so much fun. The atmosphere is a little bit... It's still competitive, but it's a little bit more like... I don't know, there's more laughs and more like kind of entertainment and stuff. you'll see the guy and the girl, like the partners, like laugh at each other, or sometimes the guy will like be a ball hog and shift all the way over to that side and miss, and then the girl will like yell at him or something, and the crowd will, I don't know, it's just a really, really fun environment. And it's still like the highest quality tennis you can see because these players are so good.
They're so good. I mean, it's weird
so
that it
fun.
Started with the exhibitions a little bit with, I think the tournament had this exhibition at the beginning where it was like Tsitsidosa, which is now just a one name. They have a team name. That's their new name, which is Stefano Tsitsipas and Badosa. You had Ben Shelton with Coco, Naomi Osaka with Nick Kyrgios. So that, I think, like primed it. And then when you came into the tournament, there's been so many great pairings. And one that I've been following, and it's going to start right now, is Donald Young, who's retiring from the game, is playing with Taylor Townsend. And that's just been really fun to watch.
Yeah, and she wants to go as deep as possible with him and really send him off with a win, or at least a deep run, which they've already made a deep run here. And she's playing at such a high level that she can do that. She can kind of carry her load, if you will, even if he is a bit rusty.
Yeah, because she's still in the women's doubles with Sonia Kova.
Yeah, they had a tight 3-set win yesterday
match
that we got to watch. So they're certainly, them and probably Dabrowski and Ratliff are probably the two favorites right now on the women's side. Both Dabrowski and Ratliff won the U.S. Open last year. They always, since they partnered up last year at the U.S. Open, they've gone deep in all the majors that they've entered together. I think semifinals in Australia this year, semifinals at Wimbledon this year. They didn't play Roland Garros together. And then Siniakova and anyone is always a favorite. And Townsend's playing at such a high level that of course they're going to be a favorite as well.
So getting away a little bit from U.S. Open specific stuff, because we talked a little bit about that. We always encourage, definitely come watch the doubles. It's a fun time. I wanted, so you were on the podcast just before the Madrid Open, and I've just been wanting to catch up with you since to see how things are going, because just before the Madrid Open, there were some announcements made about the doubles, changes coming to it, ways to shorten points, or at least like make things faster.
Yeah.
All those changes have come. It's been a few months now.
Yeah.
Have you seen any market difference at all?
I'm interested to hear how they're measuring it, and if they are. I haven't noticed a huge difference. I do think some of whether it's the tournaments or the tours, and I know Matt Ebden's really involved in it. He's on the Players Council. They're starting to a little bit, not as much as I like, obviously, but a little bit promote doubles on social media a little more. I would say a year, 2 years ago, it was basically non-existent.
Right.
And now you're starting to see more doubles promoted on social media, and I would imagine that's a result of some of those meetings and changes, because it just doesn't cost the tours that much money. I mean, they've already got the social media team.
Yeah.
They've already got the cameras set up, the highlights.
Right.
So they're starting to do that more. As far as the rule changes, I don't see a big need for many of the rule changes. I don't think doubles needs to necessarily be a lot faster. We talked about this last time. The product is fantastic.
Right.
It's, you go to these matches here at the U.S. Open, and you talk to the fans, and they'll stop me and see my shirt and be like, yeah, why don't people watch doubles? This is so entertaining. This is so much fun.
Yeah.
I'll even every now and then I'll be on a singles court and somebody will say that to me, and they're obviously a singles fan too, and they say the same thing. So it's not the product. It's definitely more on the marketing side that needs to be done. The one change that they did make that is partly product, partly marketing is the free fan movement, which they're doing even on the singles side a little bit now. But that's huge, and I think doubles really needs to embrace that, because it'll just make for a more entertaining on-site experience for everyone. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, right? As a tennis player, it's not noise that bothers you. It's silence and then one person saying something, right? So if
it's a jarring, like almost surprise of a weird sound.
So if like everybody's moving, like they kind of drown each other out, and it's just like a white noise, right? And you can serve in that, like that's no problem. But at the end of the day, this is like a sports entertainment business, right? So you have to entertain the fans, and if the fans want to be moving around and don't want to wait for the next changeover, then they shouldn't have to, because they're buying tickets.
They're buying really expensive tickets to the U.S. Open. And, you know, I think coming into it, I didn't know what to expect with the free fan movement. I thought it might be a little jarring and maybe we would get a lot of complaints from players or something. I haven't heard anything specific. And so far, on all the courts I've been on where there's movement, it's worked. Like, I haven't been on any court where play had to be stopped for an extended amount of time or anything like that. It just seems to work.
I think the fans seem to get it. Like they understand that you need to like if you're walking and they're serving, like just stop and be still. Like they seem to get it. It's not, I don't know the exact rules, but it hasn't been totally free fan movement. I think some of the gates on the lower levels, like on 17 yesterday, when I was in the lower level, and same for court 7, like they were like, you can wait for the next game change, so not changeover, but game change, so that's a little better. Or you can go up to the top gate and walk in and sit wherever you like immediately. So I think some of the lower levels, there's still have some rules around it, but it's progress.
It's the same on it's actually the same on Louis on the lower and the upper level. Actually, they only let you in between games, which obviously is better than a changeover when the build up can like be really long. Okay, going back a little bit to the changes, I wanted to talk about this specifically because I want your thoughts on it. One of the changes that came up was sort of holding space for singles players to play doubles. And in a few tournaments, especially the 1,000 levels, where singles players has come up, I have seen a bit of buzz. For example, when Sinner and Jack Draper were playing doubles together, or when Shelton and Bublik were playing doubles together. Like these little sort of singles players matchups have been like, oh my goodness, what are we going to call them?
They
what's
crowd,
their team? What's their team name? Do you think that also helps people get into doubles?
It does. So it depends. You have to look at this at different like time horizons. So if we want doubles to be really popular in 2 months from now, we need Alcaraz to play. We need Sinner to play. We need Ben Shelton to play. We need Tiafoe to play. If you want doubles to be popular 10 years from now, it'll help give us like a kickstart. Like it'll get things going now, but long term, I don't think that's a good solution. So you can create a blend, right? Like it's good to have some singles players playing doubles right now to help draw some fans there, but long term, I think the doubles players and the doubles tour needs to be marketed itself as its own product, as their own players, and then you can create doubles stars. So people will have heard of Mate Pavic just as much as they've heard of Ben Shelton, right? So I think that you have to look at it that way from like a few different angles. And that's why, like, you know, especially on Twitter, when people get into like these debates about singles versus doubles and stuff, especially with like the limited character set, like people can oversimplify, but there's a lot of nuance to it and a lot of different angles you have to consider. And there's not one solution, right? So I think, yes, we should do what we can to get more singles stars and tennis stars into doubles right now. And also, we need to be thinking about, like, how do we make Austin Krajicek and Rajiv Ram U.S. tennis stars as doubles players?
Right,
you know?
right.
So I think it's both.
Yeah, okay. So we don't really do predictions on Ground Pass. It's sort of like, we love tennis. Everyone should have tennis. But who are your favorites going in? Like, who do you think? Because, I mean, the defending champs are out on the men's side. Coco and Pegula are not playing this year. Like, who should
they're done for the year.
Yeah, I mean, I would say on the women's side, until they're out, you should just probably be watching Taylor Townsend and Siniakova, right? They have to be sort of
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be them or Dabrowski and Ratliff. Those have to be the top two. They're on opposite halves, so they would meet in the finals.
Right.
Mladenovic and Zhang are on the bottom half. They're a very good team with Grand Slam title experience. Mladenovic doesn't always enter the doubles draws right now, but she's been playing well. I watched her in Toronto a bit, and she's just a really good doubles player. She does all of the things that I kind of teach on my podcasts and my YouTube channel. She does all of those things. Like she doesn't have really any weaknesses in terms of strategy and tactics and where she's looking. So they're a really good team.
How about on the men's side now that the defending champs are out?
Let's take a look at the men's doubles draw here. Gosh, it's hard to like. I think Granollers and Zeballos are the favorite.
Right.
They've made, I think, 3 Grand Slam finals together and not won any of them. They've made, I don't know how many semifinals, like a lot. It would be cool to see them get over the hump and win one. I think Granollers himself has made 5 Grand Slam doubles finals and not won any of them. It would be cool to see them win.
Right, so that's the team to look out for.
I think they're probably the best team right now. Arevalo and Pavic are right there with them. They beat them at Roland Garros, but different surface, obviously. And then Kulhov and Mektic are a really good team. They've been playing well. They beat the Wimbledon champions, like you talked about, and it was 2-2.
Yeah.
I didn't see the match, but that's a convincing scoreline. And I talked to Kulhov earlier this year, and he said, I said, what are your goals by the end of the year? Because this is his final year on tour. He made it very clear, I want one more major. It was very clear. And, I think, this is his last chance. I bet he worked super hard the last month.
Yeah, no, that's what it felt like on court. I watched, the last few games of this match, and I just thought, are they running through it? It was a sprint. There was no sort of, let's pace into it. And based on the scoreline, I feel like that's probably what the match was about. So what's next? I mean, we have the U.S. Open. I guess end-of-year finals are coming. But how can people sort of, after this, if they find a favorite team they like, and I think this will sort of come to the issues of keeping up with doubles, but how do people keep up with doubles? Yeah,
there will be more events throughout the rest of the year, obviously. The year-end finals race is really cool to follow right now. There's so many teams between that, 5 and 6 to, 11 and 12 spot, and only the top 8 make it. So they're all kind of jockeying for positions. Some of them at the end of the year will enter a 250 that's got a really weak field to try to win the tournament and just get those extra points they need. So that's really fun to follow. Davis Cup is coming up. Billie Jean King Cup is coming up this fall as well. And doubles is very important in both of those. So, there's still lots of opportunities to watch. If you're in the U.S., Tennis Channel Plus is one of the best ways to watch, especially the WTA side. Tennis TV on the men's side is a great way to watch. They're both around $100 a year.
Yeah.
It's not that much if you're a big tennis fan.
Yeah.
And they also have monthly options. If you want to just watch one tournament, you can sign up and cancel. And then if you're not in the U.S., I know WTA TV works well in the non-U.S. And I need to get together a page on my website, how to watch doubles. I keep talking about this.
How to watch
I just
any
don't
tennis.
know. I need to have some Australians contribute, some Europeans contribute, some people from Asia, Africa, everywhere, to figure out what all the streaming services are by country or region or something.
Right.
No,
that's something we've been working on as well. To sort of, because it's tough. I wish there was one answer. Hey, go to this place and watch it all. Yeah. But it's depending on the region, depending on where you are. Rights are constantly changing. So
too many hands in the pot.
Yeah, it can be hard. Well, Will, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you
was
for joining
fun.
me for this little quick hit from the U.S. Open. I hope the sound has been great. This is going to be a test to see how it's been. But where can people find you? This is a combined podcast episode, but where can people find you?
Yeah, we're going to publish on both.
Yeah.
So my website is the best place. You can find everything there. To follow everything I'm doing, sign up for the newsletter. So if you go to thetennistribe.com, right there on our homepage, just enter your email. I send out a newsletter every Thursday with free doubles lessons, which are, some of them are written doubles lessons, some of them are video doubles lessons, and then whatever that week's podcast episode is, which is sometimes like a strategy focused episode. Sometimes it's an interview with a pro player or a pro coach.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of content on all the social media channels, but I send it all through the newsletter, so that's probably the easiest way to follow.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, I'm like, oh, I haven't signed up. I need to sign up, because it's so funny you just said that about the free doubles lessons. You know, new fans to tennis who start coming to tournaments, so ground passers who then want to play tennis, for the most part, start with doubles. Yeah. They all start with doubles. Yeah. So it's like, why don't we just watch more doubles, everyone? It seems like...
This is too hard. So what about for my listeners? Where do they follow? How do they find Ground Pass?
Well, Ground Pass, we're mostly on Instagram is where we post like daily stuff. We don't have a newsletter yet. We're still so small. Maybe one day. But Instagram, you can find us. Threads a lot. The Threads community has been really, really great. We love sort of chatting back and forth with new fans on there. And yeah, if you just go to those, you'll see our link and you can find us everywhere. And the link to, you know, Will's stuff, my stuff will be in the bio of this podcast as well. So
I'll link to all your stuff in the bio of the podcast on our side. Cool. Well, this was fun.
Yeah,
we'll do it again next year, or maybe at a tournament sooner.
Yes. And we'll catch up on what's been going on with doubles. And meanwhile, please, like his shirt says, watch more doubles.